Alright, so my name's Stephen Choi, and I'm going to present on architects. So I thought I'd start off by talking about different perceptions of architects. So what people think about architects, what society thinks about them, just what different opinions are on architects. So I guess if you ask the typical person what an architect does, they'd say architects design buildings. If you ask a contractor or an engineer about their opinion of architects, it might be a negative one, because so architects might design like crazy buildings that contractors can't design or build, or structural engineers can't create the structure for. So yeah, and then there's also the media's perception of architects. So who in here watches How I Met Your Mother? So if you haven't seen it, the main character's name is Ted Mosby. He's an architect, and there's a few episodes that talk about him as an architect. And in one of them, his friend Barney works for GNC Bank, and he has to propose an idea for a building to Barney. But he's also competing for a job with another firm, which is a Swedish architecture firm. So I just have a clip of that.
Will radiate the strength and stability that is Goliath National Bank. Thank you, gentlemen. So, that was great. I love it.
Yes! Looks like we got our guy. I don't think we even need to meet with,
I'm Sven Jorgensen. With me are Sven Pilsen and Sven Johansson. And we are Sven! You are Goliath National Bank. You are cutting edge. You are new. You are fresh. Women want to be with you. Men wish to harm you. But the fool who dares challenge you shall be crushed. Your headquarters will tell the world of these facts. Oh, and one more thing. Don't look this! Would you use Barney Stinson, head of the search committee?
that's me!
You, Barney Stinson, are a man of power and virility. Your office shall be here, in the head of a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
I never knew it till now, but I've always dreamed of that.
On your large desk upon doing rosewood shall be this button.
What does the button do?
Press it! Press it for glory!
Yes! This is the most awesome building in the universe. There is no way this building can be more awesome.
There is a strip club in the letter N.
So the building's kind of ridiculous, but I guess this is kind of like the goal of what students in architecture school now are going for, just to have these work for a large firm and have these large jobs from wealthy clients like banks and other people, and they could make whatever design they want, cool or crazy. So now I'll talk about what an architect actually does. So if you break down the word architect, it comes from the Latin word architectus, and that derives from the Greek word architekton. And if you break down architekton, archi means chief, and tekton means builder, so chief builder. So basically, an architect is the head of the construction of buildings or edifices. So a more practical definition is, an architect is involved in planning, designing, and overseeing the construction of buildings. So I'll talk about the planning and design role of an architect. So in this role, the architect is given a job by a client, and they have specifications that they need to fill, what kind of building the client wants, what they want in the building, if they want the building to have a certain effect on the city, like a monument or something like that. And then they also have, in planning and design, they have to meet building codes and zoning codes and other things like that. And then after the planning and design role, they also have their construction role. So architects are in charge of overseeing the construction, hiring a contractor generally, and they're also in charge of paperwork for construction and municipality. So these are the professional requirements to become an architect. For e-education, you have to get a degree from an accredited architecture program, such as a Bachelor of Architecture. That's what I'm going for now. It's about 5 years generally. Some schools differ, it could be like 6 years. And then after that, you have to do 2 to 3 years of internship. It's a total of 37, 40 hours. And then after that, to become a licensed architect, you have to take the architect registration exam, which is a 7-part test. So like I said, it's a 7-part test, and you take all the parts individually, and you can take them in any order. And they're on different topics like site, construction, structure, different things that would involve architecture, design. And it's a total of 33.5 hours for all the tests together. It's 555 multiple choice questions and 11 vignettes. And what vignettes are is you're given a question or a situation, and then you have to draw out an answer to it. So like say you have to draw out the structure of a building, you'd have to like draw that all out and label it and have dimensions and everything. So it's a pretty intense test. These are the pass rates for architecture registration exam. So you can see it's pretty hard. It's anywhere in between 60 and 70% passing, and you have to pass all the tests to be able to become a licensed architect. These are the pass rates for students from NGIT. So you can see the lowest pass rate is 55%, which is pretty low. So now I'll talk about professional title distinctions. So in an office, you'll have different levels of architects and different things they do. So up at the top, you have senior principals and partners. And so principals and partners are kind of like the heads, the owners of an architecture office. They also act as like a CEO and other positions like that. And then once you go below that to like department head and project managers, they're not the owners, but they're typically in charge of projects, and they lead the projects and delegate tasks to other architects. And then below that, you have architects and designers who actually do the work of designing and planning. And then you have intern architects below that. So if we go back to How I Met Your Mother, a lot of people, not everyone works in a large firm. If you don't, some people start their own practice. And I know a lot of professors that actually practice from their own home. So in How I Met Your Mother, Ted Mosby actually worked from his apartment.
Who the hell are you?
I'm PJ, Mr. Mosby's assistant.
Ted, what the hell?
I'm sorry, we do not interrupt Mr. Mosby during his brainstorming hour.
It's okay, PJ, that's Robin. She lives here. Oh, I'm sorry for the disturbance, sir. Do you need anything else? Well, I wouldn't say no.
You're right there.
Yeah, so I'm interning with one of my professors right now, and I do work for him, and he works out of his house. So we'll contact each other, and I'll send him drawings. I don't want to actually like work in his house. So now I'll talk about the Pritzker Prize. So the Pritzker Prize is the equivalent of the Nobel Peace Prize, or the Nobel Prize. It's given to architects for either innovation in architecture, or they've had a large influence on architecture, or they shaped architecture in some way. And they usually get the Pritzker Prize, like people are pretty old once they get it. But this is Frey Otto. He won the Pritzker Prize for 2015, and he's a German architect. And this is what he's most known for, which is the 1917 Munich Olympic Stadium. And it's basically like a roof structure made with tensegrity and tensile elements. This is Shigeru Ban, and he was the winner from last year. He's a Japanese architect. and he won for the Aspen Art Museum, and it's made of this wood facade. And this is Toyo Ito. He won the year before. He's also Japanese. And he was known for this building, Sendai Mediatek. And it's made of these floors, which are connected by these tube-like structures that go throughout. And so last, not everyone gets a job in like a large firm, or so they'll work in their home or something like that. But a lot of architecture students actually go back and teach. So this is a clip from How I Met Your Mother where Ted becomes a professor.
Finally, my first class had arrived. For real this time. I knew I had to make a strong impression. I had thought of everything, except...
Wait, this professor won it for two.
Oh my god.
Professor. Professor. They're all staring at me. Professor. I don't know. Just do something.
2 F's. That looks right. I think that's right.
Yeah, so there's just a little bit about architects, and hope it was informative.